This artist was the 8th biggest streamed artist in the world, and then he decided to repeatedly mock God, and it all came crashing down. And some would make the case that if selling your soul was a thing, well then he's done it. From an internet meme song that had him performing at an elementary school to an LGTV demonic rage bait music video, Lil Nas X went from being one of the most viral artists with a household name to being an LGTV artist catastrophe. Now, years after multiple viral moments of fame, it seems he may be regretting it all. But before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan. This channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God. And sometimes that requires us to look at the utter buffoonery of those who are obsessed with mocking God and the subsequent consequences. Which leads us to today's video, the predictable downfall of Lil Nas X. So if you're new here or if you're not new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. There's a huge percentage of the people that watch this channel, unfortunately, are not subscribed. All right, let's jump into the video. So Lil Nas X had a meteoric rise several years ago with the hit record Old Town Road. It was a blend of crossing over between hip hop and country music. It featured Billy Ray Cyrus on the remix and got 1.3 billion streams. Now, there were some adult themes alluded on the song, but they weren't quite explicit. And so this became a massive hit that was viewed as family friendly because people didn't understand it. This led to him performing at elementary schools. Okay, this is rather phenomenal if you really think about it. I mean, look at the kids in this audience. These are little ones, okay? And that's how big Lil Nas X was. So this was basically a kids bop that got made into a kids bop. It didn't really need to be made into a kids bop, but it did. And even the kids bop version got 39 million views. That's a lot of views. So this was a massive moment. So Lil Nas X was initially viewed as a family-friendly artist, even though he may have not intended to be that. And as he was trying to build his audience up as an artist and not just a one-hit wonder, this is when he came out and announced that he was a part of the LGTV community. This is June 30th, 2019. Now, initially, people weren't shocked or upset by this. There's a lot of people that come out in the month of June and celebrate their orientation. And then less than 2 years later, he upped the ante with images like these, dressing up as a demon that was twerk dancing on the devil, seemingly rage baiting to cause more and more outrage. Needless to say, this seems to have been him alienating his family-friendly audience. A lot of children were listening to him because Old Town Road was a massive hit. And then he takes a really sharp turn in a direction that most parents wouldn't feel comfortable with letting their kids watch someone twerk dancing on the devil. Now, maybe this is all intentional, or maybe there's something more sinister at play. He then dropped a Satan shoe, which featured actual blood in it, allegedly, and got sued by Nike with a cease and desist for releasing this. He only was supposed to release 666. Even Nike wasn't having this foolishness. He ended up tongue-kissing a man on stage at one of his award show performances. So this led to a good amount of people just honestly being spooked out. People who aren't even people of faith that were saying, hey, all this satanic imagery, the blood in the shoes, bit much. And then it led many people to say, is he just being on the nose, or is he trolling? Or is this what it looks like for a creative, for an artist to sell their soul, if such a thing could happen? Some people even started to question if he was actually LGTV or if he was just doing it for clout. I mean, for example, check out this video from Poetical Flacco, who did a great job analyzing some of this, and he's not a Christian creator. And he even points out that it seems as if Lil Nas X has become a caricature of himself.
He's never been this flamboyant in his life ever, bruh. He has now put it on a character to try to re-galvanize the LGBTQ audience when even they have left Lil Nas X in the dust.
But there seemed to be a glimmer of hope. Well, there wasn't. It was just more trolling, but he ended up posting this. Y'all mind if I enter my Christian era? So with his hair permed out and singing a Christian song, he then goes on to troll Christians even harder, wearing a skirt and then making additional claims about coming to the faith. And then this escalates rather quickly into complete and utter blasphemy. Here he is fake consuming communion wafers and juice. He then dressed up as Jesus, as a transformer woman, I think that's what he was going for here. He put out this album artwork, which is the most zesty personification of the crucifixion I've ever seen. So if trolling Jesus and dressing up as Satan wasn't enough, he then had to pivot back as things weren't going so well and kind of release these vague non-apology videos, asking his audience to be patient with him, while his numbers continued to plummet. And we'll look at those in a second, which leads us to the current state of affairs. As he's been rolling out new music, it hasn't been performing very well at all, and he now had to acknowledge that a lot of what he was doing was clout chasing and rage baiting. Yeah, and again, shout out to Poetic Flacco. He goes a little deeper on this in his video that you guys can check out, and he was the one who sourced a lot of these clips.
Very all over the place, but I was for a long time, you know. These last few years were pretty difficult for me. They have been pretty difficult for me. And I'm just now like arriving to this place of feeling confidence in myself and what I'm doing. And I'm trying to make sure I put intention towards my music and my vision and the creativity of it all.
It's interesting he's saying that he's now finally arriving at a place where he's starting to have some confidence in himself, when the entire point and narrative of this movement is to be your true, authentic self, to own your truth, to walk in honesty. So it's very interesting that, is he saying that he hasn't been honest, that he hasn't been confident? Has it all been a facade? I don't know, but this is very telling, to say the least.
I want this time around to be even more fun, and I want to be like even more full of joy, and I want to be even more full of love, and I want to go out here in this world, and I want to wave my hands in the sky and move about freely, and that's what the Dream Boy era is going to be.
The sad part is that he's extremely talented. Some of his music is very good, just from an objective artistic standpoint, not the content, not the worldview, but he is talented, yet feels like he has to resort to this sort of stuff. And this is by far the most shocking. There's been accusations of him potentially using bots to get his views up on his last couple of releases, specifically all of them having almost the same exact number on YouTube, 150,000, 150,000, 150,000. And then on Spotify, his last couple of releases all kind of have the same number of views, 250,000, 250,000. But regardless on if those are authentic views and streams or not, the reality is he was the 8th largest streamed artist in the world. Okay? 60 million monthly listeners. He's up there at this time with the Taylor Swifts and the Justin Biebers. As of today, he is at 19 million streams. Now, that's still an exorbitant amount, and a lot of that is probably algorithmically from the old Town Road song. But that's over a 70% decline for someone that had one of the biggest songs in the world, was a household name, and has dipped quite significantly. His YouTube numbers are looking pretty rough as well. He's getting 230,000 views, 192,000 views, 266,000 views. At his peak, he was getting hundreds of millions of views across multiple songs, and now he's getting hundreds of thousands of views. Now, even songs of his you probably have never heard of have tens of millions of views. And I think all of this makes me think of the passage in Galatians chapter 6, which says, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life." Now, I think this is speaking in the grand scheme of things regarding our eternal state, but I think a lot of this applies here and now. People who choose to consistently mock God and poke his people, Christians, being rage baity, agitating, trolling, these things are not without consequences. And it seems like society, it seems like culture has shifted away from this idea that if you're just your true authentic self and you poke and troll people that are religious, that's the way to success. That's the way to more eyeballs. And I think Lil Nas X is getting the real reality that not all press is good press, that you can play yourself and alienate your audience if you're not careful. And so now he's scrambling, he's trying to rile his core up, and it doesn't really seem to be working. For someone of his profile and his status to be not able to crack 500,000, 700,000 views or streams on a song is rather bleak. And I think the practical takeaway is that sometimes we don't need to be upset over this sort of stuff. Sometimes people are poking and they're intentionally trying to get attention, and that's exactly what it is. And ultimately, God will deal with them. Their own audiences will deal with them. Their own core will move on and say, nah, I'm over it. It's like those of us that grew up watching wrestling. A lot of people have a great bit. They have a character they play, and then sometimes the audience moves on, and the character gets boring, and people don't care anymore. So I want to hear what you think. You think Lil Nas X trolled himself into irrelevancy, or do you think he has more in him to rage bait the Christian community and families alike? Drop your comments. Also, if you want to hear about Apple's new horrifying show and the secret hidden meaning that I believe ties into scripture, check this out over here. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.